You are a self-made man or woman because you are where you are and what you are due to the thoughts that you have allowed to preoccupy your mind. Whatever you have dwelled upon over the months and years, you have become and you are right now, today. Your thoughts are the guidance mechanism of your life, so control your thoughts. When you control your thoughts, your feelings are determined. It is the thought that creates the feeling. It's how you think about something that has happened in your life that triggers the emotion. The way you explain things to yourself largely determines your emotions, thoughts, reactions, responses, and ultimately, the total quality of your life. We become worried, fearful, concerned, and anxious, or on the other hand, happy and inspired. Things happen and we react, thinking and saying, well, of course, I'm upset. You'd be upset too if you had the same experiences. Life is a continuous reaction to outside stimuli for the average person. One may feel happy or sad, or that life has meaning or is meaningless, by evidence of what happens to us from day to day. But if you don't want to be upset, you needn't be. The incident happens, there's no use denying it, but as far as your experience is concerned, the incident is completely external, it's always on the outside. What happens in your mind happens as a result of your attitudes, feelings, and habit patterns. Your thoughts are your reactions to the incident, always. The incident did not make the thought. It is your mind, and you have been thinking and reacting in thought according to the level of your consciousness. Remember the last time you said, "He makes me so mad," or "That just teases me off." Of course, this is not correct at all. No one ever makes you mad. No one ever gets you upset. You're upset because you're upsettable. You're angry because you have an anger consciousness that is touched like a little red button that causes it to blow up within yourself. But the anger is already within. Someone says something about you that you don't like. Someone behaves towards you in a way that you find offensive. Somebody does something or says something to you that you feel hurt by. And out of you comes anger, hatred, bitterness, tension, fear, anxiety, stress. And immediately, you say the reason that comes out of me is because of how he said it, or the way that she said that, or because they did that. But the truth is, the reality is, that what comes out is what's inside. So, you react in thinking according to the level of your attitudes, according to your consciousness. Some of us are completely unaware of the fact that we have the power to control the kind of thoughts that run rampant in our minds, to realize that it is your mind. Therefore, you have to ask yourself the question from time to time, when you find yourself terribly upset, concerned, anxious, or worried about something that's happened. Take a good look at yourself and ask yourself this one question. Why do I allow people or experiences or things to determine how I'm going to think or feel or act? In the same way, we're susceptible to the programming of mass media that is designed especially to control and influence thought. Simply because we've allowed ourselves to react, we are led into a life that is not really our own at all. We don't live our lives. We live lives that are conditioned by outside stimuli. But that's because we refuse to accept the responsibility for our own thoughts. So, the very first step in this process that we're calling the art of thinking is to know that no matter what happens in your world, no matter what happens out there, no matter what you read in the papers, no matter what is taking place around you or to you, you always have a choice. Your anger is your choice, and you can always choose to be happy, angry, depressed, miserable, upset, or fulfilled. In this moment, it's always up to you. You can choose to think positively or creatively. You can become the master instead of the slave. It's not easy to think happiness when you're unhappy because your unhappiness is busy manufacturing more unhappy thoughts. We're busy manufacturing negative thoughts to fulfill the negative state of consciousness, and it goes round and round. It's a vicious cycle, but as I say so often, you don't have to have anything to be happy about ever. You can be happy simply because you want to be happy. Abraham Lincoln once said, "A man is about as happy as he makes up his mind to be." This is the key to the positive life. The key to positive thinking. Simply determining that you have control and you can think the kind of thoughts that you want to think, and making the commitment at the beginning of the day and regularly through the day that you're not going to allow people or conditions or circumstances to decide how you're going to think or feel. Fact is, you always have a choice, and this is a very important realization. You better not read the news for a while, and you keep yourself in perfect peace and develop the capacity to control your own thoughts. Then you can read the news and listen to the news and see what's going on in the world, saying that the world has problems today, but not, "I have problems." The world has problems, then suddenly you're in a state of consciousness where you can be a creative asset to the world, but at least you're not going to be destroyed by it. If you'll give it a good try, it will completely change your life for the better. Now, I'll try to outline the 30-day test. I want you to make. Now, keep in mind that you have nothing to lose by making this test and everything you could possibly want to gain. First, it's understanding emotionally as well as intellectually that we literally become what we think about, that we must control our thoughts if we're to control our lives. I want you to write on a card what it is you want more than anything else. Make sure it's a single goal and clearly defined. You needn't show it to anyone, but carry it with you so that you can look at it several times a day. Think about it in a cheerful, relaxed, positive way each morning when you get up, and immediately, you have something to work for, something to get out of bed for, something to live for. Look at it every chance you get during the day, and just before going to bed at night. As you look at it, remember that you must become what you think about. And since you're thinking about your goal, you realize that soon it will be yours. Thinking about what it is you fear. Each time a fearful or negative thought comes into your consciousness, replace it with a mental picture of your positive and worthwhile goal. There will come times when you'll feel like giving up. It's easier for a human being to think negatively than positively. That's why only 5% are successful. You must begin now to place yourself in that group. Don't concern yourself too much with how you're going to achieve your goal. Leave that completely to a power greater than yourself. All you have to do is know where you're going. The answers will come to you of their own accord. For 30 days, do your best. If you should fail during your first 30 days, by that I mean suddenly find yourself overwhelmed by negative thoughts, you've got to start over again from that point and go 30 more days. Gradually, your new habit will form until you find yourself one of that wonderful minority to whom virtually nothing is impossible. Don't forget the card. It's vitally important as you begin this new way of living. In your spare time, during your test period, read books that will help you. Inspirational books like Dorothea Brand's Wake Up and Live, The Magic of Believing by Claude Bristol, Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill, and other books that instruct and inspire. Nothing great was ever accomplished without inspiration. Above all, don't worry. Worry brings fear, and fear is crippling. The only thing that can cause you to worry during your test is trying to do it all yourself. Know that all you have to do is hold your goal before you. Everything else will take care of itself. Remember also to keep calm and cheerful. Don't let petty things annoy you or get you off course. Remember that you must reap that which you sow. If you sow negative thoughts, your life will be filled with negative things. If you sow positive thoughts, your life will be cheerful, successful, and positive. Live this new way, and the floodgates of abundance will open and pour over you more riches than you may have dreamed existed. Money, yes, lots of it, but what's more important, you'll have peace. You'll be in that wonderful minority who lead calm, cheerful, successful lives. I want to talk to you today about one of the most important single aspects of success of all kinds. Success in love, success in money, success in health, success in every area of your life. And it's what you've heard of called a positive mental attitude. A positive mental attitude is a generally constructive response to the stresses that face the average person every single day. A positive attitude is where you feel that you have the ability to control your world and to control your life. A positive attitude is like a chicken and egg thing. If you're successful, you're positive. If you're positive, you're successful. Which comes first? It doesn't really matter. But we know this. Positive thinkers are men and women who accomplish an awful lot more than people who have negative mental attitudes. Your job is to develop a positive mental attitude. Your job is to become thoroughly positive and constructive towards yourself and your possibilities in the world around you and the people in your life. And the way you do this is very much the same way you develop physical fitness. Now, if I were to say to you that if you go to a gym and you work out on a regular basis, an hour and a half a day, and you do this every day for 30 days and you match that with a proper diet, that you'll actually see a difference in yourself physically. If I were to say that to you, you'd say, oh, of course. Anybody knows that if you worked out steadily for 30 days, you'd notice the difference. Well, it's the same thing with mental fitness. So, I'm going to ask you to do this for me. I'm going to give you 7 steps. 7 things that you can do. 7 things that have been proven to work. What I'm going to ask you to do is that you practice these 7 steps for 21 days. The reason for this is it takes 21 days to develop a new habit pattern of any kind. If you work on a habit pattern and you practice it every day, you'll begin to develop new neural grooves in your brain that cause you to think and act more optimistically automatically. You get up in the morning feeling better. You're more positive toward the challenges you face during the day. You're more optimistic in the face of adversity. You start to become a more competent and optimistic person. And when you do, you'll find your whole life will open up around you like sunshine on a bright morning. These 7 basic steps to mental fitness, if you practice all of these steps together, what will happen to you is incredible. But here's the first rule, and this is the rule that runs through everything, and it is this. Remember that everything counts. Everything that you do counts. The biggest mistake that people make is they think that only what they want to count counts. If you read a book, if you listen to an audio program, if you go to a course, if you go to bed early and get up early, and you work, it all counts, and it's all going on the plus side of your ledger. But when you watch television, waste time, hang out, fool around, and so on, all of that counts as well, and it's going on the negative side of your ledger. And here's an important point. If what you are doing is not moving you towards your goals, then it's probably moving you away from your goals. Nothing is neutral. Everything that you're doing is either moving you towards the things that you want to accomplish in life, the person you want to be, the wealth you want to accumulate, or it's moving you away. Everything counts, and your job is to remember that everything we talk about counts. It affects you one way or the other, and your job is to use every single one of these as often as you can. In 21 days, you won't even notice the difference. You'll be so astonished at yourself. Number 1 is positive self-talk. Positive self-talk means that you are optimistic in your conversation with yourself. What we have found is that 95% of your emotions, how you feel about yourself on a minute-to-minute basis, are determined by the way you talk to yourself. This is called your inner dialogue. It's the stream of words and thoughts and feelings that course through your day like a river going through your mind. The sad fact is, if you do not deliberately and consciously talk to yourself in a positive and constructive way, you will, by default, think about things that will make you unhappy or cause you worry and anxiety. Remember, your mind is like a vacuum. It will not remain empty. If you don't fill it with positive thoughts, it will fill with negative thoughts, and you know exactly what I'm talking about. Your mind is like a garden. If you do not deliberately plant flowers and tend them carefully, weeds will grow without any encouragement at all. If you don't think positive thoughts and take good care of them, negative thoughts will grow in your mental garden without any effort on your part. We also know that there is a concept in cognitive psychology called explanatory style. Explanatory style has to do with how you explain things to yourself. We know that successful people, positive people, are those who explain things to themselves in a positive way. They say, well, that's an interesting situation, or that'll work out okay, or don't worry about it. Everything is going to happen for a good reason, and so on. Positive people are those who constantly take what is happening and interpret them differently, explain them differently. Positive people turn them around and explain them well. W. Clement Stone, one of the richest men in the world, said that one of the keys to his success was to look at every adversity and immediately say, that's good, and then to find something in it that was good. So, the second part of positive self-talk is to control your inner dialogue. And here's the key to positive self-talk. It's one of the most important parts of modern psychology, and it's the use of affirmations. Now, affirmations are positive statements that you make to yourself about yourself and your world. My favorites are, I like myself, I can do it, I feel terrific, I am responsible. This is how top people think most of the time. Affirmations are the key. With affirmations, your potential as a person is unlimited. The discovery of affirmations and the development of affirmations as a science has been one of the greatest breakthrough areas in human potential. If I can give you one secret of success, it would be this. Talk about the things you want and refuse to talk about the things you don't want. It's to talk continually in terms of what you want to happen, to interpret things continually in terms of the way you want them to be, and to continually control your inner dialogue so you're always saying the things to yourself and then to others that are consistent with the person you want to be and the life that you want to have. Remember, 95% of your feelings are determined by the way you talk to yourself. It's absolutely essential that you talk to yourself the way that you want to be. The second key is positive visualization. Perhaps the most powerful ability that you have is the ability to visualize and to see your goals as already accomplished. See your life as ideal in every way. The way you do this is you create a clear, exciting picture of your goal and your ideal life and replay this picture on the screen of your mind over and over again. The rule is that all improvement in your outer life begins with an improvement in your mental pictures. And you completely control the pictures that you play on the screen of your mind. As you see yourself on the inside, you will start to be that person with those accomplishments on the outside. If you see yourself and think about yourself as an extraordinary person, if you see yourself as a success, if you see yourself as happy and positive and confident and in control, if you see yourself as a loving parent or spouse, you will act that way toward others. Therefore, all improvement in your life begins with an improvement in your mental pictures, with you consciously and deliberately selecting the pictures that you're going to allow your mind to dwell upon. And that word, dwell, is terribly important. When you dwell upon a picture, your subconscious mind, just as with affirmations, accepts the picture as a command and goes to work to bring that picture into your reality. It's the most phenomenal thing. Your subconscious mind controls your reticular activating system, or your reticular cortex as well. Your reticular activating system is very interesting. It's a small part of your brain that controls all incoming impulses. Let me give you an example. If you've ever thought that you're going to buy a red sports car, you send a signal to your brain that red sports cars are now important to you. Your reticular activating system suddenly activates all of your senses so that wherever you go, you see red sports cars. Every time you turn around, you see them turning the corner, you see them parked, you see them in parking lots, you see them in newspapers and magazines, you see them everywhere. If you begin to tell your brain that you intend to be a great success in your field, that you are going to move to the top, that you're going to be one of the most respected people in what you do, if you're going to make a lot of money, whatever it happens to be, this is accepted as a command. The reticular cortex switches on all these switches, and from then on, you begin to see all kinds of possibilities that help you move toward achieving that goal. Why is it that successful people move so rapidly toward achieving their goals? It's very simple. It's because they're thinking all the time, and as a result of thinking about what they want, they see all kinds of opportunities around them to achieve that. The average person doesn't even see, because the average person is so worried about how much money they have and how much their bills are, all the problems they have. The more they think about those things, the more they get them. So, with regard to positive visualization, see yourself as you desire, and what will happen is your subconscious mind will say, well, this must be a command. This must be what you want. So it goes to work and coordinates your words, actions, thoughts, activities, emotions, and so on, so they're consistent with achieving and bringing that mental picture into your reality. If you interview successful people and you ask them on a regular basis what they think about, what are you thinking about now? You'll find that successful people are always thinking constructive, positive, creative thoughts that help them to be more successful. And if you interview negative people who aren't doing very much with their lives, you ask them what are they thinking about, they're always thinking about negative, hurtful, destructive, angry, resentful, worry thoughts, and surprise. The more they think about them and worry about them, the more they draw them into their lives. Be careful. Your mind is very, very powerful. The next technique, number 3, is positive mental food. Just as your body is healthy to the degree to which you eat healthy, nutritious foods, your mind is healthy to the degree to which you feed it with mental protein rather than mental candy. Read books, magazines, and articles that are educational, inspirational, or motivational. Feed your mind with information and ideas that are uplifting and that make you feel happy and more confident about yourself and your world. Listen to positive, constructive CDs and audio programs in your car and on your MP3 player or iPod. Feed your mind continually with positive messages that help you think and act better and make you more capable and competent in your field. Watch positive and educational DVDs, educational television programs, online courses, and other uplifting, enriching material that increases your knowledge and makes you feel good about yourself and your life. Did you know that every time you learn something new that you feel can help improve your life, your brain releases endorphins, which are called nature's happy drug, and you actually feel happier even before you take action on a new piece of idea? You feel happier that you have learned a new idea in the first place. Just as we said before, you become what you think about. If I were to say to you, there's a remarkable discovery, did you know that you become what you eat? That your food determines your physical health? If I were to say that to you, you'd say, give me a break, Brian. Everybody knows you become what you eat. And the problem is, we just don't eat the things that we should. Positive mental food is exactly the same. You become what you think about most of the time. In other words, your whole life today, everything around you, has been determined by what you think about most of the time. Now, if you think about positive, constructive, success-oriented, happy things, you start to have more of those in your life. If you think about movies, television, sports, and waste your time socializing, well, you'll have a lot of those in your life, but you won't have anything else. Remember, whatever you think about most of the time crowds the other things out of your life. So, in becoming what you think about, what do you feed your mind on a regular basis? And this is not something that you are casual about. You must be very, very deliberate.